give a damn about a hater when I feel like it. Not today, not today, not today, not tomorrow. Get out my way, please, I'm trying to get paid. Not today, not today.
All right, welcome in everybody. NFL Week 2 is in the books. A lot of exciting stuff going on. As always, we're back with you, Kevin, Seth, and Steve. The board meeting is now in session. Seth, Steve, I don't want to beat around the bush and waste any time. And there was some interesting developments, some interesting trends, in my opinion, going on in the NFL so far, even just through 2 weeks. So, taking a look here at the efficiency landscape matchup map through Week 2 here. Couple of teams maybe differentiating themselves from the rest of the pack here, both good and bad. So, Steve, let me start with you. Who's sticking out, good or bad for you, man?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, Fins all the way up, baby. Fins all the way up. As you know, we have that Super Bowl bet. One of our teams there and offensively leading the pack, and we said this last week. This is who we thought they would be when Tua was healthy. And no surprises, nothing. You know, this is who we thought. I will say I don't believe in this, but you got to look at Green Bay, right, and what Jordan Love is doing with that offense. Now, I still think this is more so because the Bears suck than Green Bay is good. We saw Atlanta come back and have that nobody win, but, give credit where credit's due. And then the rest, I think, are just usual suspects, so to speak. But I am a little shocked at Denver. But for me, I would say Fins, loving what San Francisco is doing, and we'll see if Green Bay is going to stay there or they're just a pretender.
Steve, I hate to say it, man. I think you are in a little bit of denial to play off what you said, man. The Bears are who we thought they were. Maybe you didn't think they were going to be this, but you, I don't know what you were thinking or what you were seeing, man. I mean, unfortunately, it's not looking great. And obviously, you got this week already coming out. Justin Fields is blaming coaching for how shitty he looks and everything. Come on, like things are not going well.
No.
Their defensive coordinator just resigned for whatever issues, right? So a lot's going on with that team today.
Oh, damn! I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so a lot's going on with that team, and none of it's really good, man. So I hate to say it, I hate to rub it in your face, but that's a team that I didn't even think 2 weeks in it would be, I guess, as dysfunctional as it has been. But here we are, man.
No, I want to say real quick that's out of. I watched that interview with Fields. Right, he's talking about overthinking and trying to do what the coaches want him to do. He's just going to play. He's going to rip it up, and we're going to see that happen this week. Now, the defense. No excuses there. That's an absolute mess. There's no excuse for that. That's got to get better. And maybe you guys are right. I mean, you weren't, but maybe you weren't.
Yeah. All right, Seth. All right, make Steve feel better. Tell us something.
I don't know if I can make him feel. The only thing I can say to make you feel better is we're gonna make some money because we bet the under. But other than that, I mean, teams that jump out of me, Fins. This is not surprising to us. Ravens, another team we were high on. 49ers, another team we were high on. Now, I will say, when it comes to injury, there's still some question there because, the Ravens got pretty banged up on defense, and their center's out. So, I mean, they need to get healthy if they're going to win a Super Bowl. Chiefs, interesting there. I mean, I guess the problem with the matchup map with 2 weeks of data is we don't know who's good and who's bad yet fully. Sure. And so we don't really know, is the Kansas City struggle with Lions actually really impressive because the Lions are going to be really good this year defensively, although I don't think that's the case. But there's just a lot of unknowns. And then, the biggest one for me and not to bury the lead here, but, Steelers, everyone's calling for the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada's job. But the one unknown here or question I have is, right, this is a Steelers offense that has played 2 of the top 3 defenses in the league back-to-back weeks. And what do they get this year? They get to go play the worst defense. So this is going to be a big, big week for me in learning, specifically for the Steelers. But, I think overall, this is why you use moving averages. This is why you use aggregate data because, this level of data can really, set you in the wrong direction sometimes.
Right. Yeah. So stratifying the information a little bit, like from using offensive and defensive metrics here. So I'm drawing a blank. Who did the Steelers play week 1?
49ers.
They got
49ers. Yeah. Yeah. So to your point, like, you know, where they are at on the offensive EPA metrics, like, yes, it looks bad, but exactly right. In context a little bit. Look where both the Browns, and I mean, to an extent, like the Niners aren't in perfectly squarely in the quadrant of elite on defense, but still far better. The top 3 against the pass, right?
Yeah.
For the Niners. And the Browns, yeah. I mean, they get, what do they give up? 14 or two offensive or defensive touchdowns for
they gave up 12 points overall, or on offense. They gave up 2 touchdowns on defense. But and to your point, my concern about Cleveland is, look at that pass. I mean, we said all last year, listen, we expect Deshaun to struggle. He didn't have an offseason. He is gone for a year. Couldn't get those reps, and he was banned from the facilities.
Yeah.
Well, what's the excuse now? I mean, this guy, and I say to someone he's on my fantasy team, so I have an extra interest. This guy has not at all lived up to the hype whatsoever. And you just watch his game plan. I mean, besides the 2 turnovers that led to points, I mean, it just seems like he's really off on the click, and he's pushing refs. And what are we doing here? Now, I will be interested to see, because we do have Browns over 9.5 wins for the season. This Nick Chubb injury, because that's where the Browns have really excelled. And that's what saved them. And we saw in that Pittsburgh game, right after Chubb went out, so did the offense. When Chubb went, so did the offense. Now, Jerome Ford had some flashes. What can Kareem Hunt do? They signed him to a 1-year deal.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt to save the day.
I'm a little concerned. Yeah. I'm a little concerned, though.
I don't blame you. I don't know. I guess I didn't really fully conceptualize what it would feel like to bet that game, you know, to bet that bet. Like, here we are, week one felt beautiful. Week 2, bumpy. Is it going to be like this all season? Probably. I mean, they have the pieces there. They have an elite defense. If Deshaun can just not turn the ball over, he didn't even need to be efficient or do something. He literally just needed to not fumble, scoop, and score, and we would have covered.
Right.
They would have won the game. Like,
yeah, fluke shit happens.
I don't know.
It's all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna chalk it up a little bit here to early season. You know, he's still coming out of like not playing football, right? I mean, he's still, he had the off season and he could practice, so he maybe understands the offense. But like, I think he played in 1 or maybe 2 preseason games. Like, you know, we're week 2. So I don't know. I wouldn't sell the ticket yet. But yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting. And if the Ravens can like get healthy, they look really good. They look really, really good. And Bengals don't. Now, I don't know that I would sell sell the farm yet either there, because they've started slow the last 2 years. But
have you guys heard if Joe Burrow's out this week yet or not?
It hasn't been official, but the market is saying he is, because it's out 1, and that's you know, just a wrong. That's just that's like a 6-point line minimum, if not. So
right.
So
some conclusions
saying yes.
Got it. Yeah. So some conclusions to draw. Obviously, you don't want to put the cart before the horse here, so to speak. With it, we're 2 weeks in. There's some interesting developments, like we said, but still a lot to be played. And if there ever was such thing as a North Star in this data, in these charts, it's the Minnesota Vikings. It's like they haven't even moved from last year, man. They're just as average as can be.
Average.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's funny that I guess some people are still buying them, and we
and 1-score games. Like, this is variance 101 right here. Like, everybody wants, what's variance? Literally, this is variance, right? Where everything goes your way one year, and then it literally goes completely against you the other year. Literally, that's like, you know, a median team will have median amount of wins over a large sample, right? This is exactly that. Yeah. Like, they're in 1-possession games, and they just all go wrong, which it was the opposite of last year.
Exactly right. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why their over/under was 8.5, right?
Yeah.
True. All right, let's look back real quick at how the model performed for week 2. We had a 3-3 week in week 2. So now I think the full. I don't have it in front of me, Seth. With I think it's 6-5.
Yeah, 6-5.
Yeah, 6-5 if you add the wins and losses here to the record above here. So again, Browns. We talked about kind of the fluke shit there. Raiders. I didn't feel great about that one. I don't know how you guys felt going in. There was some reasons to believe that they stood a chance, or that we're at least going to cover, but yeah, nothing came to fruition there. And then one for the good guys, Steve, right? We were talking about it the weekend. Rams with the beautiful backdoor cover.
Let's go.
So we were reminiscing on how week 2, 2022 was one for the books in terms of just
it still came back and got us. It still came back and got us.
Yeah,
sure, that's fine. We had high level of trauma and PTSD from week 2 last year, so so we're a little glad things went a little better this way. And then Saints and the Chiefs. Saints very sweaty, and they fucking let the Panthers drive down the field at the end of the game. There, that was. Whatever. No too sweaty for my liking. But then the Chiefs, even the Chiefs too. So I mean, we had a very close weekend to it being a very poor weekend.
Yeah. I mean, the Browns is so disappointing because the model was right. Like they would have won that game by 10 if you take both of those defensive touchdowns, and one of them was a pick six, right? It wasn't even poor decision making. Like. Yeah, that one's super disappointing, but shout out to Sean McVay. That was one of the better feelings I've had in a long time when it comes to using the model to sports bet. I can't I turned into a kid. Like I was like, no way, they're gonna kick it. They're gonna kick it.
Yeah. All right. Well, so that was the week 2 predictions. Let's talk briefly about where things stand. Quick little update on all of our future models, all of our futures model predictions so far. So there are 8 of them, as we can all see here, and really, you guys tell me if you're, maybe the Browns, like we just kind of talked about with that, if the injury and the Deshaun question marks, that one's looking like it's going to be a season-long type of sweat or may not come to fruition. But other than that. Any one of these plays that sticks out for you and you're like, I could see this going south pretty quickly? Because I frankly don't.
Go ahead, Seth.
Just Raiders. I think Jimmy G will be good, but I think that defense did not get better, and unfortunately, they're going to be giving up a whole lot of points. And we're going to find out this weekend how bad they are because they're going to go against the worst offense. But if Steelers win that game, I think. It could be a long season.
Long season. Okay. Steve, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say which one's gonna go south? It's gonna go NFC South, the dirty South, Atlanta Falcons. Now that's gonna be that game. Listen, I've been on the Falcons all off season. I've listened to all this Desmond Ridder slander, all this Falcon slander, and I just want to say the only one on here that's 2-0 are the Falcons against this supposedly good Packers team. Came back and did what they were supposed to do. So,
without Aaron Jones, without Watson,
did what? Win, baby, win.
Any chance he gets to slander the Packers, he'll take it, Seth.
All right, fair. Exactly. Hey, look, I got the ticket. I have a ticket. For over the 8.5 wins. You're right. If you're gonna, we had Packers played at Atlanta. We have both overs. In fact, the best thing happened to us. The team with the higher over total wins won. I'll take it. Mm-hmm. The slander on Desmond Ridder ain't stopping. That's all I gotta say. I mean, this dude, they're telling us they don't believe in him. They're putting him out there.
Right.
They're having him throw like 20 times a game. I mean, it's
yeah.
I mean, if you look at an efficiency landscape, he's average, right? But that's as good as he's gonna get.
That's all they need. Listen, if anyone understands, you just need an average quarterback. It's the 85 Bears fan enemy, right? You just need a good defense, check, a good run game, check, and a quarterback that's not going to throw the game away from you. That's all we need. Stay in your lane, Ridder. Stay in your lane.
Go back to the defensive stratification for offensive and pass and rush defense. What are they going to do when they play the Jags, the Eagles, the Titans, more than likely Tampa Bay? Like when you literally can't run at all you can do is pass. Like you're just going to die. Desmond Ridder will die in these games. He will literally just catch on fire, and not in a good way.
So to your point, answer your question, what are they going to do in those games? Sure, they'll lose 4 of the 8 games they can lose for us to still cover, baby. It's all good.
All right, checkmate, I guess.
Yeah, have your cake and eat it too. I guess that's what we're all hoping for, man. the theme.
Can we go back to that graph really quick though? I did want to point something out here.
The defensive EPA.
Yeah. This. So this is really something to keep an eye out for the prop bettors out there. So you may have heard something called pass funnels. This is exactly what a pass funnel is. Your teams, we'll just take really right now the top two, Eagles and Jags. What this is telling you is effectively you cannot run efficiently at all on these defenses. So what you're forced to do to play in these games, to win these games, to make game plans, you have to scheme up basically a full pass schematic where you're going to get all of your all of your yards, all of your efficiency through the air. So if you're looking, when you're using these maps, use these to find these situations, because this is where you want to, identify some team or some guys on the offenses that are going against these defenses and potentially look at their overs, because in order for these teams to game plan correctly, they're going to have to throw the ball almost exclusively to score points. So this is a good, basically angle to bet, because those defenses, if they stay this dominant, basically give no efficiency via the run game. So it's a good prop bet angle to use. This is the information you're using to define a pass funnel, right? And what does that mean? It just means that all day these wide receivers are going to get targeted. So they have to. That's all they can do.
Nothing else they can do, right?
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah. Keep an eye on those two teams. But if they keep this way, especially come week 10, I mean, basically you can just take all the wide receiver overs.
All right, real quick. So let's, I want to talk about, oops, this is the wrong one. I want to talk about week 3 model predictions, as well as get your guys' thoughts on some other week 3 goings on and some best bets and whatnot here. So here's all of the model predictions for week 3 here. There's four official plays that meet the criteria with 4% EV or greater here. So Seth, walk us through the Steelers one real quick, because we just kind of got done shitting on them a little bit. So what's the model picking up here?
That the Raiders defense is really poor. And to be honest, it's still figuring out who Kenny Pickett is.
Sure. Okay.
This is either going to bite us in the ass or we're going to look smart. The way that we use our data, right? We have a whole database of, predictive statistics, but we still find that modeling who the quarterback is highly predictive. It adds a huge chunk of predictive power. And we think that that's actually signaled through back testing many seasons. We use 20 years of data. And the only downside about this method is that it forces us to delineate the quarterback's home starts versus away starts. So it has no idea what happened from a standpoint of outcome for Kenny Pickett on Monday night. It does, however, have all of the statistics that happened in that game baked into the model. So it's kind of saying, well, that happened, but we don't know that happened to Kenny Pickett. So it's really only looking at, the 6 starts that he has when he's away. And in those situations, it likes him more than when he's at home. That combined with Raiders defense being basically atrocious. And that goes all the way back to last season, right? That's the big kicker here is when you're using rolling averages, we use a 15-game rolling average. 13 of the games are from last season, and they were bad then too. So they've either gotten worse or they've gotten no better, and that just puts them in the bottom bucket of defenses. And look, if you're a bad offense, this is your time to get right. If you're going to get right, it's got to be here, because if not, it's going to get worse real fast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Steve, I know we've talked a couple of times about, not liking over the course of the years, not liking double-digit spreads or whatever. So Ravens minus 11 is what our number has it at against the Colts. I don't know if Anthony Richardson is ruled in or out yet. I'm not sure how the market
still in concussion protocol.
The protocol.
Yeah, as of this afternoon.
Okay, so I guess either way you slice it, I mean, we know the Ravens got to fix some health issues, but are you feeling 11? Because this one scares me a little bit, frankly.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely like the 8 way better, right? Obviously, it's fewer points, no surprise there. But Yeah, and this actually moved down to 7.5 for the Ravens. I think so. What Seth mentioned earlier about potential injuries and that play into effect, along with the unknown. Are you going to get Richardson? Are you going to get Gardner Minshew? I think either way, even though you're getting Zach Moss back for Indy, and that's going to be a huge boost. This Ravens team, I think, is just, even with some injuries there, is just too good. And so I do feel pretty comfortable about this. I honestly, I probably feel a little more comfortable if Minshew starts, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah.
Just because we saw what he did last year with Philly, and I don't think he can do more with less here. Now, we had Minshew Magic or Minshew Mania, whatever it was called a few years ago, right? I don't want to discredit that, but yeah, this Ravens team is the real deal, and I think they're deep enough to get through with this 8. 11, I'm definitely scared, but 8, 7.5, it really up to 9.5. I feel pretty good about.
Yeah, I mean the 11's our model prediction, right? The right. Market is 8.
Exactly.
Interesting here. You model the rate, you model all the data, you put in Anthony Richardson, you get, if you round down, you get it ends up getting 10.4, and if you run it with Minshew, it's like 10.8. So it is it thinks these quarterbacks are basically the same person, and I think that is exactly right. In fact, I would almost even argue that Anthony Richardson may be a little bit better. Why? Because that offense is predicated around running around. Right. I'm not sure Minshew is the same, the same magical character that he was 4 or 5 years ago, that he's able to do that. So yeah. And then I think that 8, it opened at 8. It's only moved to 7.5 at Pinnacle, and it stayed there. It's still at 8 at Circa and everywhere else. We'll see, but I think this is mostly due to injury. It'll be interesting to see if the Anthony Richardson news is perceived as news if he ends up missing the game. I think Right Angle Sports has a pretty astute observation. Like, this whole Minshew thing is it's very polarizing. Some people perceive this as an upgrade, and then some people perceive this as a huge downgrade. As far as our numbers, we basically get the same number if you use either one. So I think overall this whole card feels gross to me.
Does it?
Really?
Okay.
I don't think I'd bet one of these games. In fact, I'd love to take Tampa Bay. I would have taken Tampa Bay 6 plus 6.5. The market,
really? Okay.
The market agrees with me. Bills, I probably wouldn't touch. That one's not as gross to me. I could totally see the Bills winning by a touchdown. The rest of them, I probably wouldn't touch. I'm not high on the Seahawks. I'm not touching the Jets, but the Steelers game for sure is just disgusting. I don't know that I love the Raiders, but
I know
this is just disgusting. Ravens is not disgusting, but the 8 just is an awkward number. Like, you got to win by 2 possessions, and that sucks. This is a sweat. This is a sweat from beginning to end,
start to finish. Yep.
Yeah, get your butthole tight as can be. And then the Bills, same thing. This could be a tip for tat, and then you get backdoored for no reason. Like, week 3 sucks. This sucks. I hate this card.
Man, we talked about this a little bit with the college, the college games too. Like, this is going to be a stressful weekend. Seems like
stressful.
But
I was gonna say it sucks, but I bet all of these, right?
Oh yeah.
One thing I've learned the hard way: you build a model and you back test that model and you put in a lot of hours in developing and testing and understanding. Trust the model, because maybe even if you go 0-4, like your perception that you can know these games better is the most fugazi idea that you can have. Like, models sometimes freak you out because they force you to look at things that are contradictory to what you believe. And that's the beauty of using an analytical approach. But does it feel gross sometimes? Is it hard to do? Yeah, no doubt.
100%. Yeah, I get it. I'm with you. Okay, so outside of this was on the card technically speaking, but I have one other game that I am reluctant to, but really might end up just hammering it home when's all said and done here. So the Dallas Cowboys coming to the Arizona Cardinals minus 12.5 here. I'm a little confused, I guess, by this line, frankly, because I think it is so the Giants and the Niners play Thursday night, and that line currently is 10.5, I believe. When we're looking at those two teams, the Niners and the Giants on the charts here. I mean, they're comfortably separated. I'll put it that way, right? And same with Dallas and the Cardinals. I know the Cardinals just played the Giants close, but I mean, if you watch that game, it was like a tale of two halves type of thing. Like the Cardinals just decided not to show up after halftime. It was very strange, but I don't understand how this is not maybe similar to week 1 Giants against or Dallas against the Giants, where Dallas just rolls with that defense coming through town. Arizona offense can't get its head out of its ass with Josh Dobbs behind there. Like this is going to be brutal. I think this is going to be I'm calling it's like going to be the Cowboys' 9th extra home game of the season, because there's going to be twice as many Cowboy fans than there are Cardinals fans in the stands. So everything to me just screams this should probably be more like 14.5, not 12.
Really, 3 possession NFL game.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of them already. So
sheesh.
I mean, yeah,
I know weed's legal in Arizona, but that is a gnarly take. What? Go back to the model. What does it put this at? Like 11 or 12?
11, yeah.
11.
Yeah, and the spread's 13. Like I said, I think it moved. I forget where.
I thought it opened at 13. It opened at 13.
Yeah, it hasn't moved much. 13. It was 12.5 for a minute. Now it's back at 13. But I just can't for the life of me decipher or understand how Arizona comes even close to that. So that's what I'm looking at, where I'm like, yeah, I want to, again, even though I'm a Cardinals fan, whatever, I don't care.
You're gonna unleash.
I'm a money fan first, so I might want to hammer it, baby.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Kev. You know, this is kind of where I thought the Ravens, Texas were going to be week 1, right? Where you have one team that is just clearly good and trying to win, and against another team who maybe they're not saying they're tanking, although the Cardinals are tanking. But you know, there's just a clear, between injuries or whatever it may be, a clear delineation of talent. You're playing to their strengths. Now, to your point, Kev, you said the Giants played the Cardinals close. Yeah, it was a 3-point box score, but that game was not.
Yeah.
The Cardinals blew a 28-point lead, or I think it was 21 or whatever it was, right? They got absolutely smoked and demolished. So the Cowboys are coming off 2 dominant defensive games. Yeah. Now, I can see this getting backdoored, you know, for sure. We see this all the time, but I'm kind of with you. The eye test, the heart test, it does feel like a Cowboy 2-possession game for sure.
Do we have the Houston output from the model? Or
only just only the EV
gotcha.
Ones. Here,
unfortunately, the Texans are down to their 4th string safety.
Probably 4th string offensive line too, right? Like that's
they got beat up in that Ravens game. I mean, they both beat each other up, to be honest. But Houston, man, they are just decimated with injuries. I forget who they play. The
plus 11 Jags. Plus 11
Jags. Yeah. Now that to me is a better angle, because not that you're wrong, but like, if it's effort versus effort, I don't know. I mean, then the model should be about right. But what the model doesn't know is about crazy, insane injury depth issues. And the Houstons have that, right? And if they were able to hold, if the Jags were able to hold a Kansas City team that we think is going to be pretty efficient to less than 3 touchdowns, I mean, that's the game to me that could get really out of hand. And if that defense is the elite defense that it looks like they're playing to be, that to me is the angle, like where that team could win by 17, just because how are you going to stop the pass rush? And then on offense, on defense, how are you going to stop the pass game? Like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. That to me is like more of a systematic, you know, synergies of just, there's no one to stop them because everyone's hurt.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's good. I like that. You sold me. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, the market hasn't moved surprisingly. I mean, at all. So I don't know if some guy maybe Houston's getting some guys back.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe Houston's getting some guys back, and that's baked in a little bit here. But interesting.
Well,
okay.
Then
So no, that's all right. I'm not disregarding nothing. You know, I'll take the data, baby. So, all right, we got I think next week, after 3 weeks, I'd also like, we should probably also talk about the QB volatility stuff, because 2 weeks of data is 2 weeks of data is give or take. Some guys don't even have 100 pass attempts yet. So
I will say,
might not even
looking at it, like, it's interesting. It is interesting. There are QBs that are usually like Dak, quadrant of elite, not volatile, but he hasn't had to be volatile, right? He's played from the lead. Desmond Ridder, average. Shout out Desmond Ridder. Gino, quadrant of elite, and then he's on the opposite end. He's the most consistent quarterback in the league. I mean, if this holds,
he's not turning into Cinderella yet.
No, he's not. The pumpkin, the pumpkin is far, far away apparently. But I think that midnight coming up. I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to talk about it next week. But if not, go to the website, bullytheboard.com, go to the QB efficiency stuff. It's really interesting to see what it looks like right now, because it's like so night and day. I mean, Joe Burrow is in the quadrant of shit. I mean, it's just kind of all over the place. It's gnarly. I
know. Weird early season stuff going on for sure. But we'll break all that down and more. So, all right, guys. I think that'll wrap it up for us today. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Again, if you're new here or if you're not, we would definitely please hit the like button. Please subscribe to our page. It really helps us out. You can see all of our socials there on the bottom, at Bully the Board everywhere. We put out a lot of content every day, and we will continue to do so throughout the season, just to try to feed you guys more value, more information. So follow along if you haven't. We really appreciate it. And until next week, boys, let's have a good weekend, shall we?
Yep, let's do it. Take care.
Yes, sir.
All right, everyone.